1, 2, test, test. Let's see how that works. Let's start the funk drummer. It's in my ears. We'll see how it goes. We'll get it done. Start a loop. Alright, we're back. I didn't expect to be back so soon. I knew this was the next guitar I wanted to do. You might recognize it. It's a Gibson Les Paul. I didn't play a lot of Les Pauls coming up. But I did hear, you know, I'm a child of the 80s, basically, and the 90s is when I started waking up and playing guitar and all that. You know, and I grew up near Aerosmith was like the local heroes, so you heard the Les Paul as the sustained guitar, and you know, then you come around and it's a jazz guitar essentially. Les Paul was a hot rod jazz cat, that kind of stuff. Somewhere there's music. How high the moon. So let's put this to the test. We got the Willa Infinity rig set up. I decided to go with the loop here and the funk drummer, and I laid down a thing just to keep it a little more groovy, because that seems to suit my presentation style. But hey, we're already 2 minutes in here. Let's get down to it. Is it gonna sustain? So let's see where we're at. Just and I put flats on here because I like to do jazz on this guitar, and I get more into Mark Spear from Krungben setup every time I get into it. I'm psyched. They're on the road again. I'm going to try and catch a couple shows. But let's turn on the intermediate drive stage after the compressor. It's the Cool Cat Transparent Overdrive, which I love. So, lots of sustain, and the thing I didn't expect when I started playing a Les Paul just last year, I just kind of gave it a shot. I traded it for an amp somebody wanted. You know, I was going through a whole sequence of trades, and they traded me this. So this is a 10-pound Les Paul. This is like an old school 70s Les Paul. It's actually, you know, it's a this decade mod collection, one of those. It's basically like a faded satin finish, if you're familiar with Gibson's terminology. But it's kind of a boat anchor. It's a 10-pound Les Paul, but it's all right here. It's all in the body. So this part, it's almost like a banjo to me, the way it's real heavy down here. And we'll see. It's getting the sustain thing. Let's step it up. I'm going to add the compressor. See where we go. We hit the D. We're going into our deluxe reverb model on the Spark Live, so which is set up like a monitor. It's as if I'm going through a deluxe reverb, and it's most of the volume is just coming back to me into the monitor. So, and for this room, it's a pretty live room, so it seems to work. But so that faded out. And I'm giving it a little vibrato, so that's one of the big things about a heavy guitar versus a hollow body feedback, is you're gonna get a lot of sustain. I would think of it more as a mechanical sustain than air resonance sustain and pressure waves. So I'm gonna try not to do that as much with vibrato to keep it going and see if we get there. But if you watch the last video with the PRS Hollow Body 2, you'll already notice a different attack. And maybe, maybe this is old news for you, but I grew up almost always chasing the Trey thing. If not that, I was on a Strat. Almost never on a Les Paul, except for my very first band for a couple weeks before I got my own guitar. So it kind of felt like coming home, coming back to this. So we're not quite there, right? We got a compressor going into some drive, into a tiny bit of amp gain. So let's turn on the tube screamers. This is a Silver Mod tube screamer into a Ross. There's another gain stage after that. I'm basically using the Cool Cat in place of where most guys seem to be putting the Klon these days. And with the hollow body from the last video, you could feel it in your finger when it was giving out. So I was looking back at the recording we made, and I would feel it resonate in my finger and the whole guitar when it was fading. And when I watched it back, I was like, oh, it's not obvious when you're listening when it's starting to fade. But here, we're getting a little boost from the compressor, but we're not quite there yet. Let's just see if we get it on some other notes. And I got the tone rolled back a bit. We're on a B on the 3rd string. On that F on the 2nd string. A on the 2nd string. I got a little volume left here on the volume pedal. I think I pulled it back. I haven't been watching the, we were at 92. We were a little hotter last time, so I'm going to kind of try to keep it at about the same level. That's fading. I could keep it going pretty easily with some a little more vibrato. So I'm giving physical energy to the string. So it's starting to increase in volume, perceived for me. So we're there. It infinities. Whoa, I moved, but there it is. So it does, woo. Okay. So just the slightest touch gets it back. And it's funny because the B, in my last video with the hollow body, the high B, the Yem, the note from Yem, I got it last time on the hollow body on my demos when I was kind of like checking the sound and everything. I was like, oh man, let's get it. And I have, but I just was trying to keep a shorter video, so I left that out. But that is a tough note to get on most guitars, and that's kind of really a test of instruments. And so we'll get into some of the other stuff in future episodes, but we're close. So we had a really good B. I don't know if it would have gone forever. I think if you were live, you could milk that. If you wanted to play a really long note, and to me, it's really not about playing a really long note. Very few people can test their audience that way. It's about that liquid thing where it feels like you can play the note as long as you want. And I know like Santana will get some of that stuff too. So. D. So to me, that's an infinite note. I must have done something last time to kill it, but the feeling, a lot of you know this, is when you start to get a little more than you originally had, so the note blooms and doesn't stop blooming. So that was kind of a surprise. I knew this. I've run this guitar through a similar rig. I'm gonna start to fade this. Ooh, fun, we went backwards. I'm going through a Ditto X4 here. So we'll do more fun with that in the future. So it does it. Let me know what you think. Let me know if this is helpful. It's kind of fun to do, piece by piece. And we'll have a different guitar next time. But yeah, so solid body, infinite feedback sustain, compression, overdrive. It's still there. It's a little different, and every guitar has its spots on the fingerboard. So we'll get into some other things that may contribute to a Languedoc having a more consistent feedback profile based on the way he builds the necks. But I'll jam a little bit more here, hang out. If you're digging it, we'll make some sounds, and I'll find a point to edit this. We'll see you next time. I should shout out, if you're still here, and I've sprayed that pot and it's a little scratchy, but I should shout out the Wampler Terraform, because they stood by their warranty and fixed that one for me, because it said 18 volts on it, and I gave it 18 volts because most pedals are happier with more volts. That's a digital pedal, and it wasn't really rated for 18 volts, so they owned up their mistake and gave me free warranty service on that, and it's back to life. Brian Wampler. Ooh, yeah. This will be interesting when we bring it back around forward. Now we're hearing it all together. Oh, it's getting freaky. Ooh, that's an interesting choice there. It's kind of breaking my brain a little bit, but that's all right. octave. Move over to the looper and screw around here. That was spicy. Had the reverse envelope filter, so that filters everything. It's a high pass filter. So if that goes through all the gain stages, look out. All right. My name's Dave. It's Mountain Branch Music. Hope you enjoyed this. We'll see you next time. Peace.